awful, mayhem, pandemonium, tumult, turmoil, uproar. How many here are feeling that around us now? Okay. That's how we come here today. We come as a beloved community. We come to see where can we find maybe some solace, some organization in the confusion and the commotion. I want to read an excerpt from A Brave and Startling Truth by Maya Angelou. It's a very long poem. Be grateful I've chopped it down. We, this people on a small, lonely planet traveling through casual space, past aloof stars, across the way of indifferent suns, to a destination where all signs tell us it is possible and imperative that we learn a brave and startling truth. And when we come to it, to the day of peacemaking, when we release our fingers from the fists of hostility and allow the pure air to cool our palms, when we come to it, when the curtain falls on the minstrel show of hate, the faces sooted with scorn are scrubbed clean, and when battlefields and coliseum no longer rake our unique and particular sons and daughters up with the bruised and bloodied grass to lie in identical plots in foreign soils. We, this people on this small and drifting planet whose hands can strike with such abandon that in a twinkling life is sapped from the living, yet those same hands can touch with such healing, irresistible tenderness that the haughty neck is happy to bow and the proud back is glad to bend. Out of such chaos, out of such contradiction, we learn that we are neither devils nor divines. When we come to it, we, this people on this wayward floating body, created on this earth of this earth, have the power to fashion for this earth a climate where everyone can live freely without sanctimonious piety, without crippling fear. When we come to it, we must confess that we are the possible. We are the miraculous, the true wonder of this world. That is when, and only when, we come to it. So this sermon isn't the one I planned months ago when I was reading a book that was recommended by my wife, Corinne, this book right here, Why Fish Don't Exist. I thought I needed to speak on a topic from here. Has anyone read this book? It's an incredible book by Lulu Miller, who is an NPR reporter and does some science work. And it became more of the context as our country began to go more and more into devolution. So today I'm going to attempt to weave together pieces and ideas from the book, words written by Cat Stevens, Robert Kennedy's Day of Affirmation address given in 1966 in Cape Town, South Africa, and the election of Zoran Mamdani in New York. Here goes. So to begin with, this is a story of David Starr Jordan, someone I had never heard of and who's fallen completely by the wayside, been discredited. Some of you may know of him. He was the one of the founders of Stanford University in California. And David Starr Jordan sought to sort out life, chaos, into a hierarchical order. He believed that there was a hierarchical order. He came out of a closely based Christian background, and he believed in the ladder of life, that if you put things, that there were rungs and everything could be hierarchically sorted out, and you would understand the universe. And he struggled to make order out of chaos. He couldn't tolerate chaos. He couldn't tolerate disorganization and disorderliness. And his mind just went to this. And what he decided to do was, to simplify it, he studied fish. He sent people to all the corners of the world, and he sent his people out, and they brought back fish. And he studied all these fish. And he would label them, and he would give them a place on his hierarchical ladder of what he thought about them, where they belonged. And ironically, he was in California, and he had his fish in glass jars filled with formaldehyde. Evidently, his lab was really intolerably stinky. And he ordered them all, and then the earthquake came, and all his fish fell off the shelf, and all the jars broke, and they were unlabeled, and he went in and he tried to pull them out, and he didn't know which fish was which fish, and chaos ensued. And he began again. And he began to sort that into hierarchical order again, and he decided to put labels inside and actually pin them on the fish. And evidently, if you go to Stanford and you go to the lab, there are a couple of jars left that have his fish. But he had a problem. He wasn't a very kind and nice person, and he also misinterpreted Darwin. And in the turn of the century, he also began to get into the movement that said, if we eliminate certain people, we would be a better community. And he began with people who had mental health problems. And he was part of the eugenics movement that started up in the last part of the century. So I want to read a piece here from the book, because the reason Lulu Miller wrote the book was she sought to find out why her father also struggled for hierarchical order. She was close to her father, and she wanted to know, why did he do this? And his hero was David Starr Jordan. And perhaps the most damning argument for not following this came from nature herself. Had David followed his own advice to look for nature for truth, he would have seen it. This dazzling, feathery, squawking, gurgling mound of counter evidence. Animals can outperform humans on nearly every measure supposedly associated with our superiority. There are crows that have better memories than us, chimps with better pattern recognition skills, ants that rescue their wounded, and blood flukes with examine the range of life on Earth. It takes a lot of acrobatics to sort it into a single hierarchy with humans at the top. We don't have the biggest brain or the best memory. We're not the fastest, the strongest, or the most prolific. We're not the only ones that mate for life, show altruism, and use tools and language. We don't have the most copies of genes in circulation. We aren't even the newest creation on the block. This is what Darwin was trying so hard to get his readers to see. There is no ladder. Natura non facit saltum, he cries in his scientist tongue. There are no jumps. The rungs we see are figments of our imagination, the more about convenience than truth. To Darwin, a parasite was not an abomination, but a marvel, a case of extraordinary adaptability. So why was David unable to see it? This mountain of counter evidence stacked up against his faith in a ladder. Why would he protect it? When challenged, why would he only double down and use it to justify violent measures? Perhaps because his belief came about from something more important than truth. To let go at any point from his first read of Darwin to his last push for eugenics would have been to invite a return to vertigo, to chaos. He would have been transported back to that lost little boy shaking before the world that had just taken his brother. A terrified child powerless to control the world. It would have been too disorienting. It would have been chaos. It would have been the very same vision of the world I myself had been fighting so hard not to look at ever since I was a little girl. That sense of falling off the edge of the world, plummeting alongside ants and stars with no purpose or point. That's what the ladder offered David, an antidote, a foothold, a lovely warm feeling of significance. In that light, I could understand why he clung to it so tightly, this vision of a natural order. Even as I despised him for it, on some level, I craved the very same thing. So what do you do after letting go of hope? Where do you go? And that's the question. What's left when there's no hierarchical order? What's left if you have chaos and there doesn't seem to be hope? And that's where I come to my Cat Stevens song. Now, I'm a child of the 70s, grew up in the 70s and the 80s and 60s. And, you know, Cat Stevens was, anybody here know Cat Stevens? Yes. Okay. I'm going to start right now by telling you that I understand his name he has switched to Yusuf Islam. And I will also interject that I'm fully aware that in his post-conversion life, he took controversial stances on women, homosexuals, and the fatwa that was ordered on Salman Rushdie, whom I honor as a writer and person, which he's tried to excuse but has never apologized for. So I want us to hold this contradiction here, that we have this person who today we might enter into arguments with and disagree with and find really repulsive. And the fact that when he wrote the songs I'm going to talk about, they were very meaningful to me. The first song is Father and Son. And this is a song that loops in my mind pretty constantly these days. Father and Son is a song which says, it's controversy between father and the young son. And here are the words. "It's not time to make a change," says the father. "Just relax, take it easy. That's your fault. There's so much you have to know. You're still young. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me. I'm old, but I'm happy. I was once like you are now, and I know that it's not easy to be calm when you found something going on. But take your time, think a lot, think of everything you've got, for you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not." And the son responds with, "How can I try to explain? When I do, he turns away again. It's always the same old story. From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. Now there's a way, and I know I have to go away. I know I have to go away." When I was in high school, I was always admonished because I had very big ideals. I was part of the generation that thought we could be equal. Everyone could have a house, place to live, food, healthcare, education, that was possible. And I held that in my heart, and I believed that. And if I ever opened my mouth to say something about that, you don't know what you're talking about. You haven't lived long enough. It will never happen. Settle down. Whatever you have now, whatever we have is good enough. And I listened to that voice for a long time, and I tried to ignore the possibility. And this year I'll be 70, and that's still my framework. That's still my mindset. And I think, something's not right about this. That we still have that within us that drove us when we were younger, that drove us to be kind, and yet we are not the only ones who have it. I told the story today about the stuck truck because it's a story about where visions come from. And I think visions held by older people come from young people as well. And we cannot discredit and discount people because we don't think like them, talk like them, act like them. And when I was young, it was like, you don't know what you're talking about. What's that language about? Every generation has its language, and every generation gets poo-pooed for having that language. And we don't understand that language, so we turn around and say it's not right. Oh, what are you saying? You don't know what you're talking about. And I want to just say that those words are damning, and we cannot put ourselves in that place right now because we are in a place of chaos. And the words that we have in our souls and our hearts about change and possibility, we have to look for who else has that. And my dream is that we foster young people who have that. That it's for some of us time to step aside and be there for the storytelling, for the history, but we are also there to promote the young and the dreams they have. And I came across this address by Robert Kennedy. I was kind of stunned by it. Robert Kennedy, who was young at the time, in his early 40s, and he was in South Africa in 1966, and he was giving a speech to a group of young people. Now, this is in the pre-height of apartheid. And then when that whole era the law and the order came down, and they decided to create even stronger laws and create places where the African people could go and not go, and to enslave them. That all came just after, the real height of that came after the speech. And Kennedy said, "Our answer is the world's hope is to rely on youth. The cruelty and obstacles of this swiftly changing planet will not yield to obsolete dogmas and outworn slogans. It cannot be moved by those who cling to a present which is already dying, who prefer the illusion of security to the excitement and danger which comes with even the most peaceful progress." Excitement and danger that comes with the most peaceful progress. This world demands the qualities of youth, not a time of life, but a state of mind. Not a time of life, but a state of mind. A state of mind led in youth and possibility. The temper of will, the quality of the imagination, the predominance of courage over timidity. It's a revolutionary world that we live in, and thus, as I have said in Latin America and Asia and Europe and in my own country, the United States, it is young people who must take the lead. But if there was one thing that President Kennedy stood for that touched the most profound feeling of young people around the world, it was the belief that idealism, high aspirations, and deep convictions are not incompatible with the most practical and efficient programs, that there's no basic inconsistency between ideals and realistic possibility, no separation between the deepest desires of heart and the mind and the rational application of human effort to human problems. And here we are again in a place where we stand, where we are told to cling to hierarchy, where we are told to go back to the ideas of 1940, 1950. Go back to some imagined place where there was a certain kind of order and where hierarchy, and who's at the top and who's at the bottom, and where the people who are at the bottom can be gotten rid of one by one. Where we can see people killed in the streets, we can see people dragged from their homes, from their workplaces, where we can go out and blow our whistles and try to have an impact, which is what we've done in my community because we've been raided many times. And that world is here right now. And how is it? It's my deep and abiding sadness that we are still in this place and we have come back around to it. How do we get out of it? If we want history, we want to look at history, let's look back to what Robert Kennedy said. It's the youth. It's the youth who struggled, who created the revolution of the 60s. It wasn't the people who were complacent and happy to come out of a war and just be at home and do their job and have their little house and not. It was the people who decided, yes, we're going to make change here. We're going to look for equality. We're going to look for people to have the things they need to lead a decent life. And chaos was reigning then too. But out of the chaos, they tried to divide us, to make us wary and afraid, to make us believe that idealism is impossible, to disbelieve in our common humanity, to identify that somebody is other so we can betray them and to be afraid. So I offer today that if there is hope, it is in the youthful mindset. It is not the youthful body, although we need the youthful body. It is in the mindset. It is in taking back the ideals of youth and the youth who are here now. So I look to the election of Mamdani in New York. Now, I will confess, although it's been 40 years, I am a New Yorker, and I love New Yorkers. New Yorkers are a diverse and interesting group of people, and you cannot walk down a street in New York and not meet people from all walks of life. And it's a fantastic place. And it gives me great hope that a person could come along, a young person in his mid-30s, and he could say to people, you know what, I'm looking around, we need transportation for everybody, free transportation, childcare, and housing that's fair. And that on that train, everybody got on that train. He turned out more people turned out in that election. He didn't do it himself. Than have come to an election since 1969. It's kind of telling. And he beat back money. He beat back, be afraid because change isn't going to be good. He beat back all of that. He resonated with young and old alike. He had the mindset, the youthful mindset to make this happen. To say, yes, we can do this. And everybody, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. And already, in the very beginning, he's already gotten childcare for children of 2 years of age. How did he do it? He went and asked for money. He said, let's do this. We need to do this. Let's find it together. And he went to a governor who was on and off with popularity, and they sat down and they figured it out. And Besides 3 and 4-year-olds having free childcare, 2-year-olds now have free childcare. That enables people to go to work. That enables people to have a life, to maybe have the income they need. And next, he's going to work on whatever else comes up. The free transportation, get to work without paying an hour's wage to get there and get home. So his ideas resonated. And there are people all around us whose ideas resonate with us. And I'm sure that we have encountered them, and we know them, and we see them. And some of them are very young. And it's appalling to me that when I looked it up, and I'm not going to get into the politics of it, that of the 433 representatives in the House of Representatives, 12 are under the age of 35. 12. Because here's what happens. You get in there and you hold on to it. And you say, okay, I'm a wise old person, so I'm going to keep going. And the problem is, when we keep electing wise old people, we don't get new youthful ideas. They don't have the youthful mindset. They've gotten trapped in the mindset they have. And so in our churches, in our schools, in our neighborhoods, we have to turn around and say, is everybody here? And what do you have to offer? What comes from your ideas? And it doesn't matter if we speak a little different language. Learn that language. Listen to that language. Say, help me understand your language. When I originally was going to do the sermon, the song that came to mind was Peace Train by Cat Stevens. I love that song, and I'm going to tell you the lyrics to it now. Now, I've been happy lately thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one, and I believe it could be someday it's going to come, because out on the edge of darkness, there rides a peace train. Peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Go peace train, sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Come on, peace train. Yes, peace train, holy roller. Everyone jump on the peace train. What if the peace train isn't something out there? It's kind of frightening to think about that. I want to change the locus of the peace train. What if the peace train is in each of us? What if we ourselves are the peace train? And we are already on board. And we just have to link up and get that peace train together. In the basis of hope in moments of despair, the incentive to carry on when times are out of joint and people and men have lost their reason. The source of confidence when worlds crash and dreams whiten into ash. The birth of the child, life's most dramatic answer to death. This is the growing edge incarnate. Look well to the growing edge. In the words of Howard Thurman, I ask us today to consider looking well to the growing edge, to the child in us, to the child around us, to the child in our home, the child in the playground and in the grocery store, to that piece of us which brings us peace, to the peace train that is in each of us. We don't have to look out there for it. It is already in each of us. So let's join together. And I will say amen and blessed be. Now I invite you to turn and sing hymn 1064, The Blue Boat Home.
What intro are we going to do? So some of this is quite easy to sing, and there's a portion of it that's pretty difficult. It uses, for all the music theory heads out there, it uses something called hemiola, which is 2 against 3. So I'm going to, instead of playing the intro of the piano, I'm going to play the melody through once, and then you'll see me give you a big old nod and start singing. Sound good?
And just to dispel your fear, it is an old folk tune. Sung often in Wales and England, yes. Down below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Thank you all. We close today with a part of the poem by Maya Angelou. When we come to it, we, this people, on this wayward floating body, created on this earth, of this earth, have the power to fashion for this earth a climate where every man and every woman, every person can live freely without sanctimonious piety, without crippling fear. When we come to it, we must confess that we are the possible. We are the miraculous, the true wonder of this world. That is when and only when we come to it. Amen and blessed be.
Our service has ended, but our work is never done.
area.
I love the socks too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, they don't match.
That's fine. We